Hi everybody, we're going to get started looking at everyone's photographs. What we're going to be looking at is just, uh, the quality of the photographs, whether they'll work for the character. I'll give you as many sort of pointers as I can based upon what I know works best for the character in terms of the, um, properties or characteristics of the photographs. Um, so in terms of finding photographs, now some classes are a lot more sort of strict about where you find photographs in terms of copyright and such. I'm very flexible just because I feel like in this class it's really important to have a wide variety of photographs available to you. So wherever you can find them, Google Images has a lot of photographs available. It used to be that we were really, in terms of good quality photographs, they were really in the stock photo sites, which can be difficult to, first of all, navigate and also find uh, photographs that you can use that don't have watermarks and are a good size. But these days, the internet is a lot more, there's a lot more photographs, and it's just really a matter of if you use something like Google Images, just making sure that you kind of wade through the different types of qualities. Like there's, you want to find things that have good color in focus, just well photographed. Okay, yeah, let's see. And lastly, the assignment asks you to find 5 photographs as a minimum, so you can always go over. I really recommend that. Even if you only have 5 objects in your character, which is fine, you can always have duplicates. Like if you have an apple that you're going to be using, you could have 2 apples or 3 apples. And the reason why that's good is because then you have actually a selection. Um, to choose from later on. Like maybe you can really be very fussy about which apple you use, which you should be. Oh, and that leads me to my final point, which is, as always, this is an organic process. So the collection of photographs you have now, no doubt you're going to be changing when you start putting your character together later. You'll look at something, you'll go, oh, this isn't looking good. I bet I can find something better, maybe at a different angle or with a different kind of, um, lighting or color or whatever it is that you think needs to be changed. So, be flexible with that. This is just our initial collection that we're going to get started with. Hi, Tracy. I'm so glad you found this informative as an exercise. I think it is too, isn't it? Where, you just find out what images are available. You said an $800 photograph. It's just, yeah, photographs can be really expensive. Um, and and it can be very time consuming to find good photographs. That's what I found as well. um, let me just see what else you said here. Oh, and yes, a lot of vector art. Vector art, um, for people who don't know, it would be things that were drawn in software like Illustrator. So they're kind of like they're more of a drawing or a painting, than a photograph of an object, which is what we're looking for. And the reason why we're doing that is because Photoshop is a is created to edit um, photographs. And photographs are, taken by a camera of something in the real world. Um, yeah, okay, so let's see here. So you have your initial sketch, which is great. Nice job here. And let me just see here. Oh, that looks great. Yeah, nice job with that. And why do I say that's great? Well, for one thing, it looks pretty big. And when you open a PDF, you can kind of tell from the page size, how it enlarges, whether it's going to be, I can't really check the size from a PDF the way that you can, if you download a JPEG from the internet, you can open that in Photoshop and look at the image size. Once you put that into a PDF, unfortunately, one of the drawbacks is you can't really do that. You can't really see the image very well. I think there's probably a way to take it out of the PDF, but you can even see here that just looking around here, it looks like it's nicely in focus and clear. And it also has very good dimension. By dimension, I mean that the lighting is kind of creating a rounded form. If you take a photograph, if you have a very sort of flat light source, it can flatten an object very even. So having this sense of sort of shape is going to look, it's when you put it in your character, it's going to look a lot better. It's going to make your character come to life. So we may see some folks who have some um, different types of lighting that we could maybe maybe talk about just to get a comparison. Um, let's see here. That looks great too. Googly eyes. Oh, interesting. It's hard to find googly eyes. Bottle, that looks very nice too. And this looks great. Again, clear in focus, good lighting, looks good size. This looks good as well. And so this is actually in terms of the photograph, the quality of the actual like the taking of the photograph. It's really I love the color and the lighting looks really good. However, you can see it's a little small here. You know, just opened up really small. So I know just from experience that that's probably like an image that's maybe like 300 pixels wide, 200 pixels wide. So it's probably not going to work for this particular assignment. But it looks like you've got another option here, which is big and it has very good lighting. So I would go with this one right here. Okay. Uh, and later on, I'm probably just, if you want to hang out for the rest of the critique, I'm definitely going to be doing a quick search in Google Images. I don't know if you use Google Images. Um, so, if you're looking for other options, Google Images often have so a lot of image choices for objects, common objects. I don't know about cardboard tubes, but they might. But I think you've got a good cardboard tube. But just, just to kind of, if you're looking for more options, we'll do that in a few minutes. Okay, but I think you're ready to go here. I would just probably take that the small tire out of your collection, and then you're still going to have. Uh, it looks like 6 photographs, which is good. It exceeds the requirements, which I always like to see. But if you want to continue doing a little more searching and adding a few more photographs, feel free to do that. Okay, Brooke, all right, so you've got a lot of different objects here. Good, I like your labeling here. That's very nice. And so let's just take a look here. Oh, that's nice. So this looks like a cinnamon stick. Yeah, this is so when you have like a bunch of objects together, like in this case, all of them are sort of loosely stacked together, then what you would always do is sort of pick an object that is, depending upon where it's in your, like where it is located in your character. Let's just see where it is here. Cinnamon stick, arm. Yeah, you probably want to have the whole thing showing so that you have the whole thing available. So like this one would probably be the one you'd select, right? Because it's probably the one also that is most in focus. So yeah, so that's good, and ooh, that's good too. It's good quality photograph, good lighting, really in focus, nice size. This one's good too. So this one, where does this take place in your character? Let's go back here. Here, right? Okay, yeah, so it's in the background. Um, this is a little harder, Candy Floss is so kind of fluffy, but and there's sort of if you can find one that has that where you see the whole piece, because the little bit's cut off here, and where you've got more contrast between the floss and the background, like it's starting to get pretty good here. Leave this one for now, but you may have to keep searching next week. You'll find when you start learning about selections and masking, you'll notice how, the cleaner the edges, the more of the object you see around the edges, the better. Um, okay, and in this one here, same thing. You'd probably be like choosing, ones that are in the round, any slices. So this one, for example, might be a little cut off, things in the background. So, just keep that in mind when you're choosing photographs of how, um, in general, depending upon where it's located in your character, maybe it's being hidden by something, so it doesn't matter so much. But in general, you want to have the whole thing showing. Okay, that's good. Uh, so for this one, depending upon what you're choosing here, it might be good to just choose like more of a single object. It'll make it so much easier to select. So if you're choosing a tomato, find just a sort of more of a single example of a tomato or maybe a couple tomatoes. Does that make sense? It just will make it a lot easier to make a selection. Like for example, like this. Now it doesn't have to be as like one single photograph, one single object on a white background, but it just helps a lot with your process. That's good. Ooh, this one's good. Love this one. So this is going to be a really good candy floss. And why do I like this one? I can see the whole thing, uh, and there's good detail. It's going to be easier to select because the foreground, the object is a little bit more. There's more contrast between this and the background, and Photoshop likes these edges, clean edges in terms of contrast. And I like the lighting too, kind of the way it's iridescent. It just seems very, beautifully photographed. Okay, so that's what I'd recommend here is, I guess, using my comments based upon what you're doing. If you need to make any changes um, to get different photographs, feel free to do that. Otherwise, I think you're going in a good direction here. Okay, Leah, so you had to add in a flute and mallet for legs. Oh, great. That sounds good. Um, so in terms of your photographs, the first thing I was looking for is your caricature, your character sketch. And I don't see that, so maybe you revised it. So I would just revise your sketch and include that in the final submission area. And then one of the things you'll want to do on your own is just to, usually what I do is I look at the character and I make sure that all of the photographs are represented. Um, like every part is represented. So that's something you'll want to do is just double check that. Um, so this first object, it's this is I think it's a good photograph. It's a good size. I'm a little concerned about the level of detail in here, all the amounts of detail. Once you put that into your character, you may find that it sort of overwhelms your character and kind of flattens it. So if you want a boom box, kind of one of those, I guess they're retro at this point. Um, Maybe if you can, find one that is less detailed, more form, maybe one that's even shot a little bit, photographed a little bit on the side so you see the three-dimensional quality. That it will make a difference. You might just keep this one and then look for another one and throw it into your collection. So you've got an option. And let's just look at the rest here. Depending upon how you want this flute to go, you notice how that it's getting very close to these edges here, like it's cut off. I don't know how it's going to fit into your sketch, but just watch that you may want to get a flute that is like more in the round, if that makes sense. So this is great. This is a beautiful, very nicely photographed. It's a really good object in terms of three-dimensional quality. Um, yeah, CDs, there's so many photographs of CDs out there, so feel free to kind of, as you work with it, if you find this one, like right in here, it might be hard to select this with the background. So, you might want to kind of play around with that later on. Don't worry about it now, but depending, again, I don't know where it's going in your design. Um, okay, and this looks good too. All right, so those are my suggestions for the final submission. Okay, Ian, robotic legs. Yeah, so you might switch up to a wheeled robotic leg for a normal one. Yeah, or you can have a robotic leg and add a wheel. You can kind of build your leg, sort of DIY style. Finding the cape was tricky. Yeah, I can see that. Um, Monitor deleting the text. That's true. Exactly. You can. We're going to be learning about that in week 5, I think it is. We're going to be doing things like that. So there's lots of options there to make changes to it. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, that looks good. Yeah, that should work. It's really, I think it's got a lot of good movement and color and light and dark. So keep in mind too that you'll be able to sort of select around this, and if need be, with Puppet Warp, which we're going to learn, I think, next week, um, you can kind of warp things too. So if you want your cape, let's say, to swing slightly more, or kind of go a little longer or wider, you can kind of do things in Puppet Warp, um, which is great because it adds a lot of movement to the characters. So this to me, this looks actually like not a photograph. This actually looks like an illustration, maybe. It's hard to tell up here. It maybe looks a bit Illustrator-like. Maybe not. So that's going to be, let's see, I'm looking, it's going to be your head. Something to keep in mind is that it's really good to have a little more three-dimensional look to your object. Can you see how this looks very flat? So even like looking at an angle will, like, so photographing it from an angle can really make a big difference here into the way your character looks. Something you might want to look at is like a really old school monitor, one that has like that, really big back. Now everything's so slim, right? So that might give you more dimension in your character. I mean, you could think about that. Um, those are sort of the main points is, just think about, the possibilities for making it really three-dimensional. So I might like look around for some other options here for your monitor. That looks good. Yeah, this looks okay. It's a little flat down here, but there's a little dimension up here. Uh, yeah, so that possibly, give that a try, see if it works. Um, so this is, I think your other cape is better. I think this is actually probably a very heavily manipulated photograph. Um, so you want to kind of keep things a little more like like a photograph that hasn't been retouched so much. So I would go with your other cape. I think that's probably a little bit of a better choice. Okay, this looks good. And keep in mind, yeah, you mentioned, creating robotic things. That's something you definitely can build from objects. You know what I mean? Like you can kind of get a gardening glove or, something, you can really be very or inventive with the way you build it. Yeah, those are, either one. Oh, those look good. I think these look really good. They kind of look like prosthetic legs, aren't they? For skiing, which is really kind of a great idea. Um, and I don't know where this is going to go. It's a beautiful image. It's a little bit hard to make, the edges are a little bit unclear. So you might want to try to get a um, a lava lamp that's a little bit more clear around the edges, more, just more detail. And if you want to, of course, we can change colors later on. So if you like this kind of murky blue color, you can make that change. You can turn it monochrome and, do all kinds of things with it. Okay, so all right, yeah, I think you're off to a really good start here, and just keep in mind that feedback can make any necessary changes. Okay, Tiffany. All right, Garden Glitter Grace. Let's see here. Got a lot of images I can see. Good. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, very nice. Good color, dimension. That's beautiful too. And this tomato maybe it's actually it's so beautiful of a photograph, but it has a lot of blurring in it, which is actually I really like blurring. Just I love that in photographs. But for the character, you'll find that you want things really in focus. So let's see, maybe even another tomato hanging out in here, but that would be definitely one that you can replace. And there's lots of tomatoes out there. Um, that's nice. Very nice. Not good. Yeah, look at all these nice. It's like going to the farmer's market, isn't it? This is also a tiny bit blurry. So it looks like you're photographing these yourself, which is awesome. So sometimes what I like to do when photographing things myself is take a few, I don't, maybe you do this already, but I take a few shots, like 4 or 5, and then I bring them into Photoshop because oftentimes it's when you bring something into Photoshop or wherever you're viewing it on your monitor that you start saying, oh, that was a little blurry, and your camera has sort of been readjusting itself as you take pictures. So you'll often find, oh, that one's in focus, and so you can just use the one that is. So I would just say that's beautiful too. That's the main thing here is to just this is pretty much in focus. Um, but just kind of keep an eye out for that. That's nice too. Oh, that's perfect. See, can you see how in focus that is? It's very, very crisp. So that's a really good one. Let's see if we come to the end. Oh, a few more. So this one, can you see how we went kind of very small here? If possible, if you can find a bigger image for your beans, that would be great. You should be able to find something like that online. So let's, I don't know what kind of bean, and for your carrot too. Let's do a search for the carrot, and this one's a little small too. When I say small, we're always looking for the highest resolution possible. In general, the smaller the thing is going to be in your character design, the smaller the photograph. But you can always take a larger photograph and work with it, because you can just downsize it, whereas you cannot do the opposite. You can't make a small photograph bigger in Photoshop because it just gets blurry. So let's just do a carrot. I'm going to use, if you don't mind, I'm going to use your carrot here to do just a Google image search, and we can use some of the tools in Google Images to search for size. Okay, here we are in Google Images. Now, if you use another search engine, they may have something similar. I'm just sort of kind of stuck with Google, for, the big monopoly here. But so, if you're in Google, you click on in the menu here, you'll see there's images. And then wherever you're searching for, in this case, I'm just going to use one keyword, but you can always use multiple ones, depending upon what you're looking for. And then what I will do at this point is, since I know that I want to have a larger resolution, I go to, so I always forget where this is. Here we are, tools, and go to size, and then I go down here and say larger than this, 1024 by 768. You'll get like a nice big image then. I don't think you actually probably need to go bigger than that. And then anything that you look for here, is going to be the right size. So all you need to do is look for something that you think is a good carrot image. And you'll still find some vector images here, as I can't remember who was mentioning that. Tracy. You'll still find some vector images in here, but in general, you'll find a lot of photographs. So you can kind of be really picky here and find something that you'll still also find images that may have watermarks. So, you can sort of like just see, this is a vector image, and this is, a lot of image manipulation. And some of them just don't have very good lighting, but I think you'll be able to find something, that you like, depending upon what you're looking for. Maybe, so here, then you can just click here, and you can actually go view, visit image. That's always a better thing to do, and then you'll get the image itself. I mean, I don't know if this is what you're looking for, but that's the Google image search, and hopefully that might have helped somebody else as well. Hey, Paige, yes, that is why I really widened up as an instructor, to all kinds of images, because I feel like the images in the library, there can be some good images, but I find, first of all, that some of the databases in there, they have a lot of, some of them have a lot of vectors and not enough photographs, and also, yeah, it can be very hard to find a photograph that you can use. So, let's see here. Yeah, so in terms of the PDF, things showing up, different sizes, it's a little hard to control that. And that's why, you're going to be using your images directly from wherever you have them on your computer. When you downloaded them, the JPEG file, you won't have to use this PDF again. It's just to bring it into the class. So yeah, if you're sure that it's a big enough size, then just feel free to keep it. In terms of, I'm always recommending, approximately 1,000 pixels at the minimum dimension. Minimum, the largest dimension. Let me see if I can explain this. My mind just kind of went a little blank. So if you have a washing machine and one of your dimensions is 1,000 pixels or bigger, that's what you're looking for. That'll work pretty well for this assignment. So okay, let's look at what you've got here. Oh yeah, I like that washing machine. That's a great. I love the how big it is. Kind of clunky and kind of fun looking. Um, well, that's great. Yeah, nice. A lot of detail, dimension, colors, really good. Has a lot of character. Um, well, that's good too. Yeah, nice sort of old style. Let me just look back at your. Okay, yeah. I'm hesitating just a little bit because it's a little bit of a flat image, if that makes sense, like it's so straight on, but it's not a big part of it, so it might work. But just keep that in mind, that it's, um, how, you know what I mean by, like, so can you see how the more you have things sort of turned, especially the rectangular objects, so you can see the three-dimensional qualities of it, the more it tends to work it for building a body. So just keep that in mind. Leave that for now. Oh yeah, I see what you mean. It is quite small. So I would double check that dimension here. It looks like it to me it looks a bit small here. That the actual JPEG might be a bit small. Um, this looks good. Oh, that looks good. I love the traffic cone idea. That's really fun. Ooh, kind of horrible to look inside of a chicken leg, isn't it? But yeah, that's a good image. Good. Yeah. Okay, so these all look good. I would check this one. And you know what? Since this is such an important part, your torso, I would like just look around for more images that you can throw into your collection, like angles, that kind of thing. Because I think the more you have, the more you're going to be able to work with possibilities next week. So I just did a search for washing machine, and you probably can get more uh, specific. I think, did you want a front loading? Let me just check back here. Yeah, right, front loading. I think that's what they're called. So you could probably just say that, but I think a lot of them came up front loading. So you can see here I've got larger than this dimension. And so I would probably just look for one that maybe has a little bit of that angled look to it so that you can see um, the side. And then I'm sure you've got your own criteria as well, like what you want it to kind of look like. So you kind of just kind of scroll through. A lot of these are just straight on, so they're not very exciting visually. Um, and, depending upon, well, that's not, yeah, that's a kind of interesting one. You can see all the way in. So anyhow, that's what I would say. That's what I would work on for yours. Okay, Russell, let's see here. Uh, oh, okay, good. You got them from, you did your own photographs, which is great. Wow, yeah, you don't want to pay for anything. That's, yeah, there must be a way. Okay, so let me see here. So overall, I just already took a quick peek at your photographs. They all look really good. Again, the way you just naturally angle these, this is such a great one, such a great element because it's got so much dimension, form. So these are all very good. Yeah, these are great. Nice. So I would just say make sure to have your character. Throw your character in there for the final submission. That's the only thing you really need here um, to complete this. Make sure that everything is there. Um, with your cables, these cables look fine for now. But just keep in mind that selecting cables can be a little challenging when you get into Photoshop. Just like the finer and more like thin something is, like this, the harder it can be to select. So don't be afraid to like look for other cables next week when you get in there and you start selecting things and you're like, gosh, I cannot select this. This is too hard. It's too thin, or, there's not enough contrast with the background. Just, find something that works a little bit better. Even a thicker cable, and you can be sort of inventive. Maybe it doesn't belong in the musical world. Maybe it's just like some other cable from some other kind of sphere of cables. You know, it doesn't, everything does not have to be completely kind of tied into the theme of your character as long as it works in the building of it. Okay, Rachel, so you look for the main items. Yeah, that's a really good idea because, those, like I've been sort of touching on just a little bit here, it's, the torso or the head or, those main parts can really help create the sense of the character, so I think it's good to be looking for those. Um, I changed the belt fruit. Okay, Holly's berries, but they look too big, so I decided to. Good. Yeah, it's good to be doing some changes as you go. When you make changes, just update your sketch. Uh, let's see, pansies. So, cabbage. If you haven't done so. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, that's a nice one. There's actually, if you go to milestone 4, task 2, and you scroll down right above the discussion board thread, I put some examples, some finished examples of character designs. And there's somebody in there that has done a garden glitter grace with a flower that's a bit similar to this, the head. So I want to look at that. It's kind of fun. That's nice too. So this, I guess this is the flower you're going to be working with. Uh, wow, that's beautiful. Now, something to keep in mind is that these edges may be a little, so this is going, let me go back to your character sketch here. Sad to say that, so this is your, so it looks like your entire edge here needs to be free to select, and since it's being cut off here, it may make it hard to select. Now, you could come into this next row in here and select around here, but it's going to be hard. Photoshop will be a little bit fussy, like it really likes a nice clean background, or fairly clean, with a strong contrast. So keep this for now, but I would also look for a few other options if you haven't yet for this particular element, some other kind of cabbage flowers, so you can get the whole thing in, if that makes sense. Okay, that looks good. Yep, that looks good too. So let's see. So for this one, I'm looking around here. I would say that to me it looks like it's going to be a little hard to select a nice clean version like that has this is close. I might keep looking for another one here. These are green, just nice peas, um, like garden peas. That should be really easy to find another one. So you want to try to find one that's round, like so it doesn't have anything overlapping it, and you're going to have one that's in focus, if that makes sense, to select from. So I would look for that. Um, this is probably the one you're going to select right here because it's right on top. That's a nice one. And yeah, I'm not sure where this is going to go. Are you like what element this is going to be? If it's like maybe you're going to be picking one of these little leaves. I might just double check that depending upon how you're going to use it. I don't see a lot of like real free, like ones that are free to select. If you want to select the whole thing, maybe that in Photoshop, it Photoshop's going to have a hard time with this, like because the background is a little bit the same color. So you might want to keep this and maybe add a few more photographs of like pine branches, um, so that you can, get a good selection, um, some good variety there. So that's what I'd work on here, is just kind of adding a few more different, options in your photographs. Okay, Iman, let's see. Okay, let's see. Reese's cup for the head, cinnamon roll eyes. What was the mouth being made out of? Let's just look here real closer. Brownie. Oh, brownie is brownie. Brownie for the mouth, maybe? Let's see. Nutty bun. Nice dessert things. Um, donuts. Lollipop. Okay, so let's see here. yeah, that's a good element. Good. So yeah, in this one, I would try to find one that is more round, like that doesn't have anything cut off, if that makes sense. Um, just like I've been talking about with other folks, so that you can select the whole thing. This looks good. Yeah, so I would replace this one, and if possible, add a few more photographs just so that you can go above the 5 requirement. Um, like I think you said here you were going to have a Reese's cup. So that would I don't see that yet. So that would be something you want to add in here. Um, okay. All right, everybody. So I think that's it. Now, again, as I mentioned before, do be flexible with your photographs. Keep in mind, once you start building it, you never know, the photograph might not work right, and so you may have to make some changes. But that's okay. That's part of the process, and that's actually the fun and creative part is to to really build your character and you know do what you need to do to make it look good.